Hello, I'm Steve Nunn, President and CEO of the Open Group. Welcome to Toolkit Tuesday, where we highlight the various components and leading experts of the Architect's Toolkit, a collated portfolio of the most pertinent technology standards for enterprise architects. During the series, I'll be calling on a number of recognized experts who will bring their particular insights on how to most effectively use the various tools in the Architect's Toolkit. We'll have a mix of interviews, panel sessions, and pre-recorded presentations along the way. While all standards of the Open Group are designed so they can be adopted independently of one another, the greatest value for an organization can be derived when they're used in unison. The sum of the parts should be greater than the whole. In the Architect's Toolkit, we have collated a portfolio of the most pertinent ones for architects together all in one place. For most of these tools, certification from the Open Group is also available, so practitioners can demonstrate that they have the skills required, and recruiters can take the guesswork out of the recruitment process, all backed up by our Open Badges program. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Toolkit Tuesday special edition for February 2025. Great to have you with us. Thank you for your interest in today's topic. We had a wonderful virtual event from the Open Group last week. Some great topics covered. So if any of you were overlapped on registering for that, you should get the recordings of that available later this week. So look out for that. We had a lot of different topics covered. Today, we are going to focus on the Open Process Automation Standard Certification Program. But before I get there, just a little bit of housekeeping. Those regulars will probably know exactly what I'm about to say, but if you have a question for our speaker today, please use the Q&A channel in the WebEx tool. And if you can't see that on your screen right now, if you click on the three little dots in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll be able to open the Q&A screen. Great to have your questions in there, please. Makes my life a little easier. And don't wait till the last minute. Whenever you think of it, do put a question in there. And please use the chat channel to communicate with other attendees. Let us know where you're joining us from. Anything else you want to do, please put that in the chat channel. So to business, as I say, we are focusing on the Open Process Automation Standards Certification Program today. And many people know the Open Group for our certification programs. Nowadays, probably particularly for our certification of people program, of which we have a number, including obviously TOGAF and Archimate and IT for IT and OpenFair. There's quite a list. Our roots actually go back to product certification, the early days of the single Unix standard and certifying around that, which is still actually a current program and actually a very robust program. So that's where we started from. And what we're going to hear about today is more of that. It's about product certification. And to take us through that, it's a pleasure to introduce my colleague, Susan Harper. Susan is a Senior Manager of Standards and Certification here at the Open Group, where she collaborates with our forums and consortia to develop technical standards and related certification programs, what she's here to talk about today. She also acts as the program manager for the product and process certification programs that we have, and specializes in executable standards that define product certifications and drive market adoption of a particular standard. And today, Sue is here to talk about the Open Process Automation Standard Certification and our product certification portfolio. So a warm welcome to Toolkit Tuesday for Susan Harper.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for showing up today, taking some time out of your day to learn more about the OPAS certification program. I'm going to go through a couple of quick slides to kind of explain what we mean by a product certification portfolio. Like Steve said, we started our roots off in product certification. We're kind of going full circle. We have multiple forms working on product certifications right now. So what we have done in our certification group is developed the certification development process for all the product certifications under the portfolio. We're trying to leverage as we talk about it in standards development, always leverage what's already out there. We're leveraging our infrastructure and ensuring that everybody who goes through the different certification processes has the same look and feel, make it easier for people to go through the process. So instead of creating an individual certification program that might be just a hair different across the board, we're trying to make it, we are a standards company, so we're trying to standardize our certification process for product certification. Just like we did with Open Professions, we did the same sort of thing. So we took our lead from the experience of the open process automation, Open Professions programs, and adopted that in the product and process certification portfolios. So to give you an idea of what we're looking at right now, in our product certification portfolio, we have 5 different forms that are working on various products. And today, if you see in green, you will see that there's the OPAS certification program, and within that program, we'll have certified products, we'll have recognized test tools, and we'll have recognized verification labs. And hopefully I'll just touch on those a little bit today. Any questions you don't feel like asking in front of people, feel free. There will be links at the end. You know, our team is here to help you, guide you, educate you, whatever you need to get through the process or understand the process. Our team is here for you. So most of you that are here understand and know what OPAS is, but for those that are not 100% sure what OPAS is, OPAS was created by the Open Process Automation Forum. It's a standard. It's actually a standard of standards that defines open and interoperable secure process automation architecture. What does that mean? We have lots of different industries. I think there's 9 involved in OPAS, where they have big plants. You want to make sure that you get the data back and forth between your different devices. And we want to ensure that what we've built is fit for purpose for systems consisting of a cohesive functional elements acquired by independent suppliers and integrated easily via module architecture characterized by open standard interfaces between elements. What does that mean? Open's in our name. We definitely promote open standards and open architecture. A lot of these process automations have been very closed proprietary systems. We're trying to open them up and allow suppliers to integrators to build using from different vendors as opposed to being in a vendor lock, and as well as end users being able to buy with a level of assurance that if they buy from a different vendor, they're going to get the same functionality. Oops, sorry. The OPAS standard is large. It contains hardware and software. There's a lot of information in the OPAS standard. So in order to do certification for the OPAS standard, we broke it down into something called profiles. So it's a matter of segmenting the functionality. I view it as a Lego block. So there's multiple Lego blocks inside the OPAS standard that you can then build as you see fit. And this is kind of a graphic of how this works. Right now, we have all the requirements going into the OPAS standard, and how do you build something from that? So the forum created these profiles. They grouped the common requirements into certain profiles, and you'll notice there's some on the right hand side. Those are the ones that are being considered for certification at the moment. There are other profiles within the OPAS standard that are not considered currently for certification. So we're just going to focus on the ones that we're considering right now. The forum is working tirelessly on getting these other profiles ready to go to do certification. So our goal is to move forward with the OPAS standard and have the entire or the majority of the standard to be certifiable. So I listed those 7 profiles, and I'll go over them a little bit here. For those of you that are in OPAS or open process automation of any kind, you know about OPC-UA. That's another standards organization that talks about the client server, pub sub, those kinds of things. So we have, instead of using the long descriptions, we always use the shorthand because, as we all know, acronyms are great, and we're no different here. So OCF001 is our connectivity framework. That really is our communication channel for all the data that goes back and forth between the different DCNs in OPAS. So that's a key profile that we want that's available for certification now. There's also the Global Discovery Server that is also based off of the OPC Foundation's GDS. And that's also available for certification right now. The OSM 003, this is something that we did with the DMTF Redfish. It's system management to ensure that you can talk to the different nodes and PLCs, DCNs, and everything else in your network and in your plant. We've worked with them and developed a test tool, and we're working to getting all of that recognized and put into the program. We also have physical platform. The PP stands for physical platform. These are rudimentary requirements because we want to do a holistic approach and ensure that we can certify each aspect and each functionality of OPAS and your plant process automation devices. So we have both just the plain physical platform, and then for those that have regulatory control devices, that's another one we've added. It's more of an extension of that first physical platform profile. Then we have 2 network profiles. We have in the standard, I think, 6, but we've decided to focus on the first 2. These are kind of basic, we got to make sure your network connects so you can connect and talk. So we feel that this first wave, as we call it, a first wave of getting this certification, will give you a lot of functionality that you can have a level of assurance within your company. So why do we need a certification program? It's great that we have all this, the standard, we've written it, so who cares? Why should we have certification? Well, we want to prove that the standard works. We sit in a room, many rooms with many people from all parts of the ecosystem, and based on experience, maybe a little bit of theory, we put together this standard, but we don't really know 100% if it works. We can't prove it. We can say, because somebody will read a rule and see it one way, and somebody will see a rule and see it, same rule, and see it differently. Just like in a car accident, everybody has a different viewpoint. We want to make sure that the standard works the way the forum sees it. We also have different ways to prove tangible market adoption. We'll have a public register that will disclose all the certified products that are out there for all the programs, not just OPAS, to prove that people are actually putting money where their mouth is. They're coming in. They accept OPAS. It's a initiative that they really want to embrace, and they've gone through the rigor to prove that they are actually conforming to the requirements in OPAS. It also provides a marketplace for suppliers to kind of tout, hey, look what we did. It gives the end users an idea of what to expect. It also allows the end users to prove if somebody says they're certified, they can go to the register and actually verify that they have been certified. We talked about the proprietary systems a little bit before. This will help reduce and eliminate those closed proprietary systems because you're adopting an open standard, which allows for multiple vendors to integrate and work together as opposed to just having one big black box. We enforce best practice. Our standard isn't, this is the end goal. This is the minimum requirements we expect our devices to meet and what we expect them, how to function, and the security. This is the minimum that we want to have in our ecosystem. And the other part of this is when you have a paper standard and nothing to execute on, then it's just a paper standard. There's really not a whole lot you can do with it. This takes it from that passive voice to an active voice where you say, okay, and we work with the forum to make sure that we can verify their standard so that we take it from that passive voice into an active voice. The certification process is in 3 stages. So there's the preparation, the verification, and then the submit for certification. The first part is the supplier. They're going to build a product or modify a current product. They want to get involved into the OPAS certification program. They look at all the information, the toolkits, the verification, the documentation, the standard. We try and make it as much available to the supplier as humanly possible, so they can be 100% prepared for when they go to verification. They've built a product, they've done all their internal Q&A and testing. Now they feel that they're ready to go to a VA or a verification entity. Here is a verification lab. We are going to be recognizing verification labs, and you can only go to specific verification labs. We have to make sure that they understand the OPAS verification and the standard and how OPAS works. So they would go to one of the recognized verification labs, and they would go and say, here's my product, here's my evidence, this is what you need to do. These labs are independent entities, so there's no such thing as self-certification. There's no such thing as self-verification in this process. We're trying to provide that higher level of assurance. That's kind of our key in the certification team. We have two main tenets, is to maintain your level of assurance and to ensure the integrity of the brand. So we always try and ensure that when somebody gets an OPAS certification, it means something in the marketplace. So we have independent entities that are the verification labs. They would then take the evidence and the artifacts that are needed for verification and run the testing. There's different ways to do verification. They would say, okay, they have passed all the requirements. Once they have passed all the requirements, and that can take multiple times, that's not a ding on the supplier if it takes a couple of times to go through. Our goal is to have suppliers just go through once. That would be ideal, but if they can go through multiple times in order to get that final verdict that they've passed 100% of those requirements that are inside that one profile. So it's not the entire standard, it's a small subset of that. And then that verification report would come to the certification authority as well as the supplier. So then once the supplier has gone through the verification process successfully, then they can come to the certification authority, which is the open group. What we do in our certification team is we verify the verification. Again, we talk about ensuring the integrity of the brand. So what we are doing is making sure that all the steps were followed, all the verification was done correctly and according to the processes and policies that we have set forth. We make sure that everything was done correctly. We ask the supplier to sign some agreements and pay a certification fee. And then once all that is done, we can then certify that product. Once that product is certified, it goes on the register and you get a logo set, a certificate. You can tout it all day long. We hope you do. We will tout it as much as we can as people get onto the register. And we ensure that we can maintain that register. And we are, if they're not on the register, then they're not certified. And that's all we can tell you. So if you come to say, hey, so-and-so's, are they certified? We will point you to the certification register because that is our authoritative source for certification. Here's kind of the same thing here, but in picture form. Some people like it both ways, but this is, it's a simple process, but can get, more complex as the bigger the products. One thing to note, in OPAS, you will have to go to a minimum of 2 verification labs at the moment, because in every profile in OPAS, they have a security requirement, and the security requirement is satisfied through ISA Secure. So you always have to go through ISA Secure and at least one other verification lab in order to get certified. Now, we talked a little bit about the different names I threw out: supplier, verification lab, certification authority. There's also the end user, which we didn't put in here, but they're very, very important to the certification process. So the supplier, as we talked about, they're the ones that develop the product or modifies it. They do all their stuff internally to get their product through the certification process. The verification entities, we're hoping to have as many verification entities as feasible in the marketplace to allow the suppliers a choice. I live on the East Coast, and I am unfortunately can only use one cable provider. I don't get a choice in the matter. Doesn't make me very happy. But we want to make sure that suppliers have a way of choosing who they can go to, because maybe time is of the essence. Maybe they have a business arrangement with a different lab. If you have a lab that's a supplier, then please have them come to us to talk about being a lab, because it would make sense for them to have the same business arrangement for you in OPAS that they do outside OPAS. Mentioned already that they're an independent entity. The verification labs can verify for one or more profiles to allow for flexibility in the program. And then ultimately, there's the certification authority. The one certification authority is the open group. Talked a little bit about how we issue certificates and logos, but we also are we arbitrate any claims of nonconformance or trademark violations. One of the things I learned when I first was hired at the open group was, number one, we take our Oxford comma very seriously, as well as our trademarks. And in certification, we do a lot of trademark and brand enforcement. If you don't use it correctly, you lose it. And we would hate to see all the hard work go away because we didn't enforce our trademarks correctly. So if somebody is stating that they're certified and you don't, then they aren't, or they have a certified product, but you feel that they are non-conformant, then you can all come to the open group and we will arbitrate that claim. We will then, because we are an objective party, we can go in there and determine whether or not they're conformant or not. And then there's a process and policies in place on how that all works. But this is something that we do that's a little bit different than some other certification authorities, and as well as other standards organizations, and want to bring that up a little bit, that we are active in our brand enforcement. So how does certification work? When I talk about certification is to one or more profiles, like I said, it's a building block, and I have the next slide, I think, is one that shows you a little bit of the different ideas and flexibility that you have within the program. We want the suppliers to build it as they see fit. We are not demanding that they build it a certain way, or how complex or how simple they need to have it. We wanted to get down to that minimum viable product, and we call that a profile. So if you want to add on, there's recommendations. You can always extend and go above and beyond. That is okay. Your implementation requirements are not determined by the open group. They're determined by your end user. So we want to leave that business case still in the hands of the end user and the supplier, and not have us muck about it. On the register, we will also have we will reflect which profiles. So if you've certified to more than one profile, we will note that on the register, so people will know exactly what to expect when they're getting your product. So this is a hopefully will make a little bit of sense. I tried to give you a bunch of different ideas of how certification works. So you can have a supplier A, can have profile 1, 2, or 1 and 3. They take the product through the certification process, and on the register it will say it's certified against profiles 1 and 3. Now, maybe it's a supplier that just wants to do one profile, totally fine too. They go through the certification process and it says it's certified against profile 2. Now let's say that we have an integrator. He takes one certified product and another certified product, sticks them together, puts some secret sauce on top, and then wants to put that entire thing through certification. That is fine as well. And once it goes through, since product 1 already has profile 1 and 3 and product 2 has profile 4, that integrated product will be against profiles 1, 3, and 4. Now, some people don't have the need to put the whole thing through. So what if they have a product, they build this whole, because we know that these systems are massive, and they want to take a product from one vendor, 2 products from a different vendor, 6 from one, half dozen from the other, and they want to integrate it into this one big product. They don't want to put that through certification because it might be too costly. They don't have a business case to go through certification. That is fine too. They just can't say that that product is certified. They can say that this product has been comprised of certified products and then list the certified products. So the end user can then say, let me go to the register and ensure that all those products are still certified before they buy it. Again, this is a decision that's made by the supplier and the end user. But these are all different ways that you can have your product certified. And if I didn't cover an example, please reach out to us and ask. We'll be happy to help you and explain that to you. So what do you need to do? Here are some links for you. We have the homepage for the certification site, which is different than the OPAS in general site. This will have the getting started page. It goes through, this is what you do for certification. If you want to become a recognized verification lab, we also have a getting started page for verification labs. Again, any questions? We have an email here. It's opass-cert-auth@opengroup.org. It will send an email to the entire team, so it's not just me getting the email. The whole team can see it, and you get your answers as quickly as possible. That's all I have for today, so I'm going to hand it over to you, Steve.
Sue, great job. Thank you very much. It's a complex program, as you stressed at the beginning, and so examples are great, and a great summary there. And folks, apologies for the Q&A glitch, but it is back up and running, and I guess some of you found it. But so here's a question. So you talked about how having a certification program brings the standard to life.
Yes.
If I'm a supplier into this kind of process automation system, what are the reasons I would want to certify my product?
Well, you'd want to certify it to prove that you are backing the OPAS. If you truly believe in open standards, you want to then go out and say, I see value in this OPAS standard. I see value in the open, modular approach to this process automation.
Right.
And that's why I want to do the certification. And hopefully the end users will also find value and then say, we want these OPAS certified products.
Right. So in essence, it helps you differentiate your products from the non-certified ones, and
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. And if I certify a product, how long is the certification in existence, or how long is the initial period for the certification?
We do not currently have any recertification requirements because we do know verification does cost money. But there is going to be an annual requirement for maintenance of your certification. So it's really up to the supplier how long they want to keep it certified.
Right. Okay. But it doesn't.
It
Okay,
doesn't
so there's the
expire. It doesn't
maintenance.
expire unless they want it to. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. And something I know I've heard before. Do I have to be a member of the Open Group to certify my product?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's clear. Questions just popped in. Can you give an example of a product that was certified to a profile and cost? I realize I know the answer to that, but I'll let you answer it.
Well, there's actually two fees that you'll have to pay. The verification fee, which we have no control over, that's up to the verification labs to determine. But our certification fees are published on our website, and you can take a look at those and see those.
Right. Okay. And at this point, is there a product that is certified that you can give an example of, or the ones that we expect to be certified first?
Well, we are bound by confidentiality as a CA, so we can't talk about things in progress, just like we can't talk about works in progress within the forum. However, at this time, we have nothing on the register. We just launched at the end of last year, and we're working on getting more people involved. Hence this Toolkit Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is early stages, as you say, and we're it's been long awaited. I know that before.
Yes.
A lot of organizations have been working on this standard for a number of years now, and this is really a significant milestone. And I think there's a number of organizations keen to be able to differentiate their products and show their commitment to the program. So we expect to listen out for more, folks, on this. You'll hear more about this program in the coming months. And
if anybody's at ARC this week, you'll be hearing it as well, because Jaco from the OPAF forum is talking about this, and as well as they're doing a little bit something different in the standard. So I think some people were waiting to see when the next version would come, but we're going through the edition wrapper. So very exciting stuff happening in OPAF at the moment.
Good. No, I appreciate you coming and sharing it with us, Sue. And it's a very significant thing in the process automation world, and look forward to following its success. So, meanwhile, thank you for joining us today, Susan Harper, and that's it for that topic today, folks. We have another special edition in a month's time, or roughly a month, March the 11th. We will be talking about mastering enterprise architecture, insights into the TOGAF standard 10th edition and the Archimate 3.2 certification. So for the architects in the group, or if you know any of them, let them know about that, March the 11th. And hopefully you can join us for that. Also, a reminder that the next gathering of the clans, if you like, of the open group and event, in-person event, is May 19th to 22nd in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. From ideation through innovation into implementation is the theme. Number of different topics, and it's always a great event and a great chance to network. So, meanwhile, we'll stop it there. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you on March the 11th to hear more about the TOGAF 10th edition and the Archimate 3.2 certification. Meanwhile, thank you, Susan Harper. Bye for now.